sad.
There is no run function.
Oh my God, what are you doing, Ben?
No,
Do you like how you can't? There is no run command.
yeah, oh yeah, that
You have to man it up.
Found the gold in their core.
too. So, the one last thing I gotta show you is the second town.
If you can make it there.
If I can make it there without East of Gibbs spawns. Alright, let's do this one more time and then otherwise I'm just gonna tell you.
Like how we're having trouble with this game using save states and stuff.
No, I'm not save stating, I'm just restarting.
I don't know, you can save state this.
I could.
We probably still have
I don't
time.
really care. But anyway, that blob up there is the second town.
At least you can tell the difference between everything.
At least it's visible, yes. But like,
It's still horrible. Like
this is really where the game just sort of kicks you in the nads. Like normally you would expect, you know, if I leave town, I'm gonna be right outside the town. Not so.
Stargazer knows where you want to go and it's going to take you there. All right.
That's a legendary shit game. Quality.
I like all the shit games are mostly RPGs.
Platformers are too easy. If you can spot a bad platformer from a mile away.
It's really easy to poke fun at the games that people all know and can tell are bad. These games are kind of hard to tell at first, except for Stargazer.
Stargaters are blatant gimmick.
Immediately apparent.
It's a freebie. Basically, I don't know if you guys have heard about the Saga series. It's really, really big. Been around for a while. They've kind of gone down every single one they've made for the most part. Until they hit.
The SNES one was better than the Famicom ones.
No. I'm just saying, like, once they got up to like PS2 era, it got questionable.
Yeah.
Like PS1 beyond got questionable.
Okay, Saga's series creator is on record as saying, yeah, I am aware that the games I make aren't, you know, very good. He freely admits it.
So,
At least he's honest.
At least he is honest.
So I was going to talk about Unlimited Saga was the one that I wanted to bring up. Relatively interesting game, 100% based on randomness. Everything is based on random. No, like, so basically everything is basically in like this chessboard type setting. You never really enter a town. It's all like you never actually walk around. It's all chessboard. So you're gonna watch some gameplay of just basically you moving around in this kind of weird chess piece. And see, everything is like just a dial that you have to hit. And if you get the dial right, nothing bad will happen. If you get it wrong, bad things can happen. And even the combat is like that. So,
Rolls of the dice.
no, the combat is 100% rolls of the dice.
Management would have happened had he not stopped it there.
It's the personality of the character. It's not nearly as weird as it could have been. But like, here's some combat. Like, they're picking these actions, which you think would decide your moves right from the start. Which would make sense for most games, but nah, this game's a little different.
Why is it such a position?
This game's fancy like that. See? So based on what you land on, which later in the game you can kind of abuse and you can kind of set it so that there's not many options, that's what you're going to get as a skill to throw out.
Am I seeing that right?
I don't know.
Oh my God!
No, the person just rolls through it because it doesn't matter because the game hates you either way.
Who's the man?
No, like you have 6. Like now you have 5 characters, and then there's like the 2 enemies,
Oh.
and all your actions are based on literally they're just picking like a kick, a punch, a weapon use, and their abilities are completely based on what they're rolling on that. See?
Thunder kick. Thunder.
He can get any elemental kick he wants, even if it doesn't help you. So, There's not a lot to discuss about this game over there. It's 100% based on luck. And sometimes it can get really wonky. Like early on in the game, you are getting your ass kicked. Because for some reason, you're like, the only 3 commands you can get are attack, defend, or do like nothing. And you are screwed half the time.
Taking after Samson.
It's like Samson all over again. But like the Saga games, like Romancing Saga, also kind of bad, but a little bit better than this. But
Saga's actually not bad for a Saga game.
for a Saga game,
Like,
that's not saying much.
I suppose, but I hear that if you're gonna pick a best one, then it would be Romancing.
Yeah, no romance. Not bad. Like 7th Saga is pretty solid, I think. 7th Saga?
Wait, are we thinking of the same 7th Saga?
I don't know.
I thought 7th Saga was terrible.
It could be. No, like, I'm just gonna move on. I'm assuming no one cares anymore. It's like, bad game in general. So, we're not gonna bring up all the Xenosagas.
Just one.
Mostly just 2. Cause 1 I thought was pretty solid. A lot of people didn't like the story because they didn't think it followed Xenogear canon, and they got all pissy about it.
Hey, I love
You could skip. All right.
movies on my PS2.
Unlike Final Fantasy X, you can skip the cutscenes. That was like a plus.
Final Fantasy X was a movie that liked to pause itself sometimes, and you had to unpause it.
The speed run for Final Fantasy X is 9 hours. 9 hours for a speed run.
Blazingly fast.
Blazingly fast. But basically, this is going to show the combat of 1, 2, and 3, so you can see how it started out as a pretty solid combat system. Then they screwed up, and then they tried to redeem themselves. And that is literally how Xenosaga 1, 2, and 3 went. But basically, you have these stock gauges, and based on how many stock gauges you have, you can do a move. Every 2 stock gauges, you can do a move. So as you're seeing, well, one of the characters is asleep at the moment, you're not going to see it. This is 1. This is Xenosaga 1.
This is 1.
I figured it was combat.
No, it's well, Ghost was probably going to be like every combat. It's pretty solid. But as you can see, this is a pretty solid combat system. You have your melee attacks, which are good against humans. Then you have your Esper attacks, which are good against Gnosis, which are the kind of like phantasmal creatures. And then you have usually like a type of like electromagnetic skill that's good against the mechs. So in general, the game was really balanced. If you knew what you were doing, relatively fun, easy to use, and if you knew what you were doing, you could also kind of abuse the system by having shorter tech arcs. But like for example, here's magic being used. Again, pretty solid element in the game. But like in general, solid battle system. What really is the bread and butter of the horribleness here is Xenosaga 2, where they decided, let's totally change this battle system around. And based on, you have to memorize every enemy's weakness. So, to deal damage to enemies in this one, you have to hit, you can hit either high, mid, or low. And you have to hit in a certain combination, or you won't do damage, or have strong enough damage to the enemy. So, you'll notice when they start attacking, the game will let you know if you hit a critical, and you can actually do heavy damage to them. So, they're charging up stocks right now, because that was another problem in this game is, if you didn't have stocks charged, you couldn't attack enough times to usually break their guard with the critical moves.
Amazing. Rich. 8-hit combo.
8-hit combos. See, so, that was mid, and then another mid. But when the red one topped up, that was when you knew it was a critical hit, so you could do more damage. And you have to memorize every single enemy's weakness for this game. And that's basically how you can use that system. But it's really terrible, unforgiving for the most part at one point in the game, because everyone near the end of the game has really wonky kind of weaknesses. If you get a knockdown, you get an extra move. Every character does their own extra move.
Hey,
What?
Can't you not buy items too? You have to get them all from enemies? Something along those lines?
Amazing.
It was, no, you can buy items. It was that everyone has like the same skills in 2. One thing about 2 was, it doesn't particularly matter who you use, they all could learn the same skills. Everyone had the same skill tree. So, diversity was basically a thing of, you got different character models. Like, which character model did you like? That's the one you should use. It didn't matter. Then Xenosaga 3, just to kind of show it, fixed a lot of the problems. So instead of just having like different type of attack model, like different attack strings, you just had one attack button. So if you went for attack, it was just standard attack. If you went for magic, you just do standard magic, like that. And then after, if you built up enough gauges, you could do special attacks, which are usually really, really big damaging attacks. But then,
Didn't Xenosaga 3 actually have like a giant synopsis of Xenosaga 2 because they were so ashamed?
yes. Yeah, if you ever pick up Xenosaga 3, it's 2 discs, where one disc is just, in case you didn't play Xenosaga 2,
Which they totally understand.
Which they know and understand. Here's to sum it up for you. And they literally walk you through everything.
Wow.
Yeah. They knew people weren't going to sit through 2 to get 3. It takes a lot of will to do that. But as you can see, it's just, they switched it basically to a more standard battle system compared to how they're trying to be really unique in the original battle system.
Yeah, basically, if you haven't checked out this series, 1 and 3 are worth playing.
Yeah, like, I think 1 is really, really solid, 2's bad.
A lot of people have diverging opinions on 1, though.
Because it doesn't stick to canon of Xenogears.
I know, like, they claim that Xenogears is technically Xenosaga 5. We have yet to find a connection.
There's the only connection is it's Momo and Junior, like the only ones that connect. That, but that could be another panel. You could do the Xenogears Saga 1 next
panel.
Next year.
Xeno panel.
There's Xenoblade now.
What? Well,
It's for Wii.
Well,
You guys should totally mod Wii's.